Hello, everybody. This is Mentor Lawyer, and I'm here to talk about another tragic case involving the death of a child. This is the case of Lori Paige's murder. She was a 12-year-old who had vanished for a period of time, was thought to have maybe run away. There was a big mystery about the disappearance of this girl, but then it turned out that she was murdered by her own father, allegedly. Of course, we'll never get a trial in this case, unfortunately, because Andrew Wiley was died today at the Leon County Detention Center. In essence, he had supposedly a medical emergency. He was taken for treatment within the Leon County Jail. Emergency responders came to the jail, but they couldn't save him. He died at the jail. I believe that's going to be the eighth death this year, and we're only in the middle of the year. So the eighth death at the Leon County Detention Center. And I was planning to obviously cover this case extensively. I did, cover the case before, and was planning to cover the case all the way to the end. And I also had planned to do a reading of the full probable cause affidavit, and I'm probably not going to do that tonight. I will probably upload that separately, but I have a summary of it, so I'll just go ahead and read to you guys a summary of what led investigators. And again, this is a summary of the allegations contained in the probable cause affidavit that led to the arrest and charges against Andrew Wiley. I have been keeping up with the case. I have requested his interviews. I'm not sure if there is a recorded interview. He was an employee of the Leon County Sheriff's Office, and I know that he made many statements to law enforcement officers, but what I'm not certain about is whether those were statements made on camera or not. I know there are body-worn camera videos listed in the discovery. I didn't see specifically a listing of an interrogation, but if there is an interrogation or more than one interrogation video for the case, I'm definitely going to try to get a copy and publish it here, because obviously just because this happened and he's dead, I think this was a big mystery for this community. A lot of people were involved in the search. A lot of people wanted to find this girl, and if she was dead, of course, get justice for her. And so now, when there's no trial, basically, it leaves an empty void for the people who lost a loved one, because they don't get to have answers about what happened. And that's unfortunate. But at least my goal is to at least show what investigation developed. How did they solve this murder? So here's a brief summary, and again, I will eventually hopefully read the full probable cause affidavit. But Lori Paige was 12 when she vanished from her Tallahassee home in early June of 2023. So we're talking about 2 years ago. Her father was 35 years old. His name is Andrew Lamal Wiley. He was sort of a single dad when this was happening. And he was the one who reported her missing. He claimed that he had left to go to work late at night, leaving the 12-year-old girl alone, and that he returned the next morning from his job with the Leon County Sheriff's Office to find her gone. So that started months-long intensive investigation and search that ultimately ended in tragedy upon tragedy, right? Eventually, her body was found in Georgia nearby, and we are in Tallahassee. Tallahassee is very, very close to Georgia. So Tallahassee is the capital of the state of Florida. And it's, in essence, where I live, if I drive north for about 12, 15 minutes, I crossed the state line and I'm in Georgia. So, at first, the officers treated Lori's disappearance as a missing child case. Wiley had told the police that Lori had taken her rainbow colored backpack but left behind no clear indication of where she had gone. He claimed that she had run away before, once in May of that year, 2023, when she was found supposedly hiding out in an abandoned apartment. And then the detectives began canvassing the area and checking her for, the known hangouts where she would be at. But Lori, this time, of course, didn't return. So over time, detectives uncovered disturbing details. The behavior of Andrew Wiley was itself quite suspicious. His statements to the police were inconsistent, and he often just didn't seem to be very preoccupied with the fact that his daughter was missing. There was no sense of urgency. I mean, if you're a loving father and your child disappears, that would probably cause any loving parent to just go crazy. So they didn't feel any sense of urgency on his part. He admitted that he had taken Lori's phone away prior to her disappearance, and he showed very little concern when investigators discussed the possibility that she may never be found alive. According to multiple teachers of Lori Paige and classmates interviewed during the investigation, Lori had spoken of being abused, of being scared to go home, and of wanting to get away. And I will talk to you guys on the chat in just a minute. Let me just finish reading this brief summary, and then I'll just talk to the chat. So witnesses reported also seeing bruises on Lori. Some recalled hearing her talk about being beaten with a belt. Others overheard her say that she couldn't take the abuse anymore. One neighbor confirmed seeing Andrew Wiley physically discipline Lori at a bus stop, while another neighbor often said that she often seemed to be that Lori often seemed to be lost, that she was always wearing oversized clothes, in essence trying to cover potential bruises, and that she always kept to herself. So as the investigation expanded, the Tallahassee police executed search warrants for social media accounts and conducted grid searches, cadaver dog deployments, and lake dives. And each time they came up empty. There was no trace of Lori on social media or anywhere that they were searching. At some moment, Wiley moved to Thomasville, Georgia, again, very close to Tallahassee, so it's very short. A lot of people actually live in Thomasville, Georgia, and commute to Tallahassee. That included, for example, one of the most infamous cases that I covered on this channel is the murder of Samara Frash. Her husband and her killer, Dr. Adam Frash, he actually worked in Thomasville, Georgia. That's where his podiatry office was, but he lived here in Tallahassee. So that's very common for people to travel back and forth, not very unusual. So he moved to Thomasville, Georgia for some time during the investigation, and detectives tracked him down there and interviewed him again. He showed them Lori's room in Tallahassee, but it was still full of her belongings, but the belongings were in trash bags, which of course that raised further suspicions. His demeanor again was very flat, no emotion, no urgency, no fear for his daughter. Meanwhile, forensic digital evidence revealed that someone had attempted to use Lori's Apple ID to access the Find My iPhone setting. When family member wants you to answer the phone, I mean, it happens to me quite often, and then here goes the phone going crazy. That's somebody using the Find the iPhone to find me. And usually when I'm on the tennis court or playing soccer and suddenly I hear, oh, it's probably got to add something to the shopping list or something like that. Anyway, so someone had attempted to use Lori's Apple ID to access the Find My iPhone service from Wiley's new Georgia address. Google and Apple search warrants showed no recent activity from Lori on any of her former social media and all that. The social media presence of Lori had essentially vanished, just like she did, and all the emails that she used before also disappeared. Everything was inactive: Snapchat, Reddit, Roblox, everything. There was also supposedly a chilling post from Lori's biological mother, Miranda White, in January 2024 that said something that my baby is gone or something to that effect, with a broken heart emoji. And then the post was deleted. And I think that she was questioned about this, and she said that she was just having a feeling. But by this time, investigators were really closing in on what happened to Lori. And in February of 2024, the Tallahassee police conducted a massive 5 square mile search. For some reason, I believe it was 2025. I don't know. It could be 24. It could be 25. But I'm pretty sure that she was found just a few months ago, because I do remember covering the press release when she was found. So I'm not sure if it was 24 or 25. Maybe that's a typo in my memo here. So the search included a 5 mile square search with a cadaver team. The area included her last known location in San Luis Park. The effort eventually led to the discovery of human remains, later confirmed to be Lori Paige. My understanding is that she was actually found in, or some in not in one piece. Let's put it this way. So I still haven't received the records that I requested, so I don't have a lot of details that I want to have, so to be able to really tell the story of what happened to this young girl. So bottom line is she was eventually found, and then they eventually issued that press release. They charged him with second-degree murder, and they pursued an indictment against him. I actually was just looking at the docket of the case, and I'm going to look at it right now. And so far, I have an information that was filed. I don't see an indictment yet. My understanding is that they were going to seek an indictment for first-degree murder, but as of June the 3rd, the only thing that I see on the docket is called an information. And the information charges Andrew Wiley with second-degree murder. So at least on the record, there's those charges don't appear. Let me see what else the docket shows. I think the next case management conference was actually set quite far off on September 2nd, 2025. The state had just filed an extensive discovery response on June the 3rd, listing a ton of records. Very thorough investigation was obviously done here. The list includes probably about 50 officers as witnesses. It includes, let me increase the size so I can read this better. I'll say more than 50. And it organizes the evidence into various pieces and different kinds of investigation. So it does mention, for example, the buccal swabs that would be showing, collecting the DNA of the defendant, and also of the mom, Miranda White. Her DNA was also obtained. Body-worn camera footage, that's listed. The missing person flyers, the grid searches and maps and cadaver dog documentation, police reports related to prior law enforcement contacts with defendant, photo of the victim provided by Leila Ogendembe, photos from the internet that were identified as the victim, as Lori Paige by the defendant, now deceased, pen register orders for the defendant, for Maurice Jones, Lantoya White, and the victim, search warrants and returns for Google records from the victim and the defendant, for Capital Health Plan records for the victim and defendant, for Patients First records for the victim and defendant, for Planned Parenthood records from the victim. Not sure if there were any, but it lists Planned Parenthood records. Don't know what that means exactly, whether there was an abortion or something like that. I'm not sure. The same with the document reveals. TikTok records, vendor built, not sure what that means, X Corp, Square Cash App records, Cellbrite extractions from the victim's phone, from defendant's phone, from Miranda White's phone, and from Tim Costume. Search warrants for historical phone records from defendant, the victim, Maurice Jones, Jamie Abney, Simone Robinson. Warrant for defendant's residence, then lists a ton of items from the residence. Collected from defendant was a pink iPhone and the victim's clothing. Search warrant for defendant's vehicle, and list a ton of items. Subpoena and return for business records from, again, a ton of like Apple, Capital One Bank, Delta, Discord, Discover, Department of Financial Services, I'm assuming. They say surgery, but that must be a typo. Department of Management Services, Equifax, Experian. So very, very thorough investigation was done. They have FARA scans from evidence from the body recovered site. They have bones of Lori Paige, photos, FARA scan, and photos of farm equipment. Defendant's rental agreement for Thomasville apartment. So he had rented an apartment in Thomasville, Georgia. The victim's dental records. Anyway, so the case was really at its inception, and then this happened. So of course the case will be now dismissed, and we won't get the full answers of what happened and what the evidence revealed as told by prosecutors. But my hope is to get at least my hand on some of this evidence so we can at least put a story together of what happened to this poor young girl. So I'm doing this from my home computer without my awesome camera, without my awesome microphone. So my apologies if this is not the best sound. But I wanted to cover this because it is last second news. I saw this tonight, and this is another tragic case involving the death of a young child. So child cases are cases that I really care about, and I love to talk about those unfortunate and sad cases. So anyway, I'm just going to say hi to everybody. I'm going to go. So hello, LJ. Hello, AJ Mama. Yes, I'm going to try to get answers about what really happened here. And thank you, Shauna, and thank you, Angel Baby. We have a lot of cases that we cover on this channel involving deaths of very young children or of children of a little older age. When I hear about those cases, I do want to provide coverage to them. We're redoing the Cheyenne Jesse case, which involved a double murder. It was a death penalty case. The trial wasn't televised, probably because of the horrible nature of the crime and of the things that were being done to the young girl. But we have reenacted the closing arguments because I also wanted to get a clear picture of what happened. And although the trial was televised, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that cared for justice for the two victims in that case that didn't get to see the trial. So we are reenacting the closing arguments. Maya will be playing the defense attorney, and we have a young man from the FSU School of Film, Daniel, who is playing the prosecutor. We're still putting that video together. And so we're doing the Cheyenne Jesse case, and we're also doing a few new cases. There's actually a new case here in Tallahassee that we're covering. There's a couple, the stepdad and the mom of a beautiful little girl who was only 5 or 6, who was found dead just a couple of weeks ago. And the father had just been released on bond after having been convicted of trying to have sex with a minor. I guess it wasn't a real minor, it was law enforcement, but he was trying to have sex with a minor. So he was convicted of it. The judge let him out on bond. And then while he was out on bond, the state now alleges that he and the girlfriend, the wife, actual mother of the child, that they both somehow killed this young girl, beautiful young girl. So we'll cover that case as well. I'm keeping track of it. So nice to see you, Tudeep. Don't see you here very often. I understand your sentiment, of course. He hadn't been proven guilty, but I think that this was a case where there was not much doubt about what happened, and so I understand your sentiment fully. I agree. Maya is being a terrific addition to the team. In many senses, she reminds me of Ladybug. I would say that she's getting as good. She's working really well. She's getting confident very fast. A little different than Ladybug in the sense that I think Ladybug was an excellent also writer and editor, and I think that her strength was more in editing, and I think that Maya has more a strength of the charisma, and she did really well on the reenactment video that we're putting together. She also does editing, and she also does narration, but she also does really well on the lives. So I think she was a great addition to the team. Very proud that we got her on the team. Very happy that we got her on the team. So haven't been here very often, been extremely, extremely busy with my own career, with my own legal cases. And but I keep my eye on the channel, and obviously my touch is on everything that gets published. So I hope you guys are enjoying the content. Even if it's not me, it is a great team formed by Mentor Lawyer. I'm actually in talks right now with a sensational possible new addition to the channel. There'll be a lawyer who hopefully will be doing commentary on the channel with a different take than I have on cases. Like I told this lawyer, this will be your show. So zero influence from Mentor Lawyer. We want to hear what you have to say. That hopefully will be coming soon. I'm still in talks with this lawyer, so I don't want to say more than that. It might not happen. So let me finish talking to the chat. AJ Mama says, oh, the Southwood case. Yes, that one sounds awful. Oops. All right. Family calls. Okay, guys, thanks for being here. I know you're lurking in the chats, and I know you always give us some awesome comments for the algorithm to leave. So I know that, and I appreciate you very much. All right, guys, everybody, thank you so much. I got to go get in a phone call. So got to go. Bye-bye.